everybody. This is Bad Bubba Brewer, and you're listening to Triple B Unscripted. And I'm with Mav, super producer, and cable action figure person extraordinaire.
Oh,
Toy Man. Just call me Toy Man.
Okay. So how you guys doing?
Anyway, guys, so back again for another week of Unscripted. Busy week. We almost didn't do it this week, to be honest with you. And then because we want to get a production out on Idiot Radio, which we will also be recording tonight. But Loki final episode was so important. You know, you guys talked me into it. How could we not do it? So, we're gonna do an unscripted, but it's gonna be kind of scripted, but only about Loki. Unless you gentlemen want to take it away to something else and veer the conversation. But we have to talk Loki.
Absolutely.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Where do we start? Who wants to take it away?
Go ahead,
Oh.
Cable.
Oh boy, I was just gonna say, as we saw last week, my recap skills aren't at the top of their game. But what an episode! What a finale! Probably didn't go as big as I and maybe some of you guys thought it was gonna go in terms of action, or it was like a kind of a slow burn episode, like story really story heavy, and by no means did that lessen it for me.
No, because compared to just to throw this in there, but compared to like the ending of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was slow. But I would take this ending over probably any of them, to be honest with you.
It did so much in the time that it was on, and with the story that it told and what it set up for the future. I guess we'll get into that. But to the best of my recollection, which isn't going to be very good, it opens up with them finding, I don't know, what'd you call it, a castle, or...
It looks like something straight out of Harry Potter, to be honest with you. It didn't look like Marvel-esque at all.
Yeah. The domicile of He Who Remains. And what is it? Do they meet him right when they get in the elevator? He greets them, I think, down at the bottom floor, and they get into the elevator. And
first they get greeted by.
See, I'm awful. Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, like a Marvel jump scare, basically. Like that was good. She just popped out of thin air like that, and then it might have shown her back at the TVA also before it got into anything.
Yeah,
because it did show her, playing games or whatever with Remslayer.
She was trying to suck him in to give him different stuff so they can actually rule together.
Okay. So then, they meet He Who Remains, and they start riding up to the top floor in the elevator. And
Salvi doesn't waste any time.
Right.
He just wants to get right to it.
Yeah, and he was not what I was expecting. The portrayal, because he was announced to be in Ant-Man 3 like months ago, and they didn't confirm who he was playing, but somehow people smarter than me kind of ruled it out that it had to be Kang. And then there were a lot of rumors, will he show up? Won't he show up in Loki here? And he shows up, and he's quirky, and he's funny and charismatic. And I was like, that's not the Kang that I know. I hope Marvel's not doing anti-hero type thing with them and everything. But so they're going up the elevator, and like you said, Sylvie doesn't waste any time. She tries to attack him, and he just flashes out of her reach. Couple times there, he's zipping around the elevator, and then you see, even though he's being funny and entertaining, he's serious. I mean, he's, she can't get a hold of him. And then they go into the chamber room, essentially. And I mean, I'm going really linear here.
There's a lot of dialogue here.
There's a lot of dialogue.
And He Who Remains. I liked that quirky witty,
Yeah.
bizarre out there character. I thought that was brilliant. I was not expecting that out of him. I
Mm-hmm.
know nothing about John Major. I know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, after that, I thought he was a hell of an actor. I thought he did such a
Yeah,
good job.
he
Uh,
did.
yeah.
And even though at first I was apprehensive about his portrayal, uh, I still was like, oh, he's acting the shit out of this character. Like, I don't know if I like the direction they're going, but you can't uh, negate his charisma coming through the character. And I liked, they had, he showed them the different versions of Kang fighting each other, like on the desk there. He created it with his uh, Gidget he had on his hand, back of his hand, and there was different iterations, different variants of Kang, and one was like spot on for the classic comic Kang. He had the
Which Bubba, you have to have some input here with that. With
Well,
the
as
Kang.
he who remains was a comic character, was an old man in a comic form, which was not anything to do with Kang. In Kang in the Marvel universe, they gave him that character because he's going to have so many. So if he gets
Are
to
you,
do
in your
Ram
opinion, are
Tut,
you okay with that? Like, as being a comic purist,
yeah,
did you think that
yeah.
was a good idea?
Well, it was great that they brought him into that because I thought it was going to be a different Loki variant. I think we all decided that, but I wasn't sure, and they made a payoff with a different character, which He Who Remains was, that's at the end of time, and then because there's so many different personalities of Kang,
when
Scarlet Centurion, Ram Tut, um,
Immortus.
a young Kang, which will be in the Young Avengers, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was Immortus. Um,
Yes,
in the original comics, He Who Remains, he carried over from an alternate or a previous universe, right? Wasn't that why he has that name, He Who
he
Remains?
was the last. That was the end of the line. That's
Yeah,
that's
like
Did he control the timeline with the TVA? Like, or how did that work?
well in the TVA in the comics they just are overseers. They didn't do as much as they did in the Marvel cinematic universe. They did
Okay.
more. They
yeah,
just was like paper crunchers in an office setting. They didn't go out and do the timelines and they didn't do stuff like
yeah,
that.
because He Who
Okay.
Remains in the comic, he looks like the classic interpretation of God almost.
Yeah,
Honestly,
he's
with that
old,
Yes.
decrepit.
I
white
did see
long
pictures.
hair,
Yeah.
beard. Yeah, and then um, yeah, so there was kind of like how in the Matrix they explain how there were multiple matrices, like one would end and then another. That's happened in the Marvel universe too, and he was the only thing that somehow made it from an ending universe to the universe that we would currently be in. So completely different. And like I was gonna say, Bubba, you gotta love that they were able to work in the name He Who Remains. Because there was probably no shot of actually having the legitimate He Who Remains from the comic in there, but that's a nice wink and nod that they do in the movies where they might change something, but you're still getting that mention from the
Well,
comic for
that gave him the character to play at the season finale because nobody thought that was coming because everybody
yeah.
was trigger happy for WandaVision and that didn't happen, and trigger happy for maybe a little bit not so much as Falcon and Winter Soldier, and this is totally where the his origin is in Disney Plus instead of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hmm.
So that's a first, and it's never been done before. So
Right. Yeah.
I
Uh,
mean, the character itself, like I said, what he was portraying for He Who Remains is just brilliant. And I'm just
yeah.
going to read a quote to you guys, and I'm sure it's going to tie into what you're getting at. But we're talking about He Who Remains. However, the quote is, "If you think I'm evil, wait till you meet my variants."
Oh, that's like almost goosebump inducing. I
Yeah,
I saw a
yeah.
meme and I loved it. Well, not a meme, but essentially a meme. And it was a picture of Thanos right after Thor stabbed him with Stormbreaker, and then the picture of He Who Remains. And it had both their quotes where Thanos said, "You should have gone for the head." And it's almost the same thing. It's almost like him saying, "Oh, you messed up." Like get ready for the shit now because it's going to get real. Like almost the same idea, and what they set up going forward, I can't wait.
Yeah, so get into that a little bit, guys. Like what? Well, actually, let's think about this. Let's finish off the episode, and then we'll get into what to expect with Kang moving forward. But basically, he goes in and kind of explains that, hey, we can do one of two things, because I've been controlling your destiny up until this point, right? That's what he was kind of alluding to. And he said we could do one of two ways, you two can take this over and run the whole thing, or you can kill me and see what happens, basically.
Yeah.
And then a traditional Loki fashion, there's always that turn, right when you think you can trust him, you can't.
Yep. And Loki was the victim of it for once.
Yeah.
He got to see what it was like on the other side of things.
Right. So I mean, talk about that. What does that mean going forward?
I believe he was turning when they met Miss Minutes out in the lobby. She already implanted and tried to sway him in the hallway, and he was swaying where she was not. He was already self-doubting his situation already in the hallway.
Her goal from day one basically was let's kill whoever's in charge of the.
Well, yeah, because she was a variant for thousands of years, where he was only a variant for a week and a half. So he was living his life.
Yeah.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, really good point. And so Sylvie tricks Loki, and they have the kiss. Loki kisses himself, and
which I'm surprised Disney did that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super edgy, but
nothing's going to be off limits now. I mean, with this day and age, there's going to be nothing off limits. You're going to see some stuff. So,
yeah, they already touched on that a little bit in the series. Yeah. But so she tricks him. It's all a trick. She puts him. I didn't quite catch where she sent him off to. Was it just in a different room, or was that like where he was doing the time loop sentence earlier in the show?
She took him back to the TVA, and just door opened up, and then there he was. Yeah.
Okay. And then she kills He Who Remains.
And then the splittering timeline, right? That's what that was implying.
Yeah, and the art in this episode, like the art direction and everything, like when you could see out of the window behind him, and then it showed the actual flow of time branching off. It was beautiful. Like it was just amazing work that they did, graphically and everything. And then it shows like the timeline with all the branches. Then you see on the screen in the TVA.
In the palace, all that gold is ceramics of Japanese reinforcement of things gone in their art form. All that gold that was all around the palace, that was reinforced. It makes it reinforced in Japanese art, and the palace was all done over like that. Because I only know because I watched the video. Other than that, I would have never known.
But what is that implying?
It implies it's solid. You know what I mean?
Also, nothing other than that it's a solid structure.
Right.
It doesn't have any like symbolic symbol or
anything. It's a symbolic in Japanese, where you know what I mean. It looks, but it makes the part like solid. That's what I got from it.
It matched the gadget that he had on his arm, like it had the same, like, you know what I mean. And then
the gadget he had on his arm is also a byproduct, the futuristic thing, the same as Tony Stark had on his arm.
Right.
Yeah.
So get into like, what is that about? Like, how did that happen? What is?
Well, he knows everything.
He controlled everything.
He knows everything.
He can see whatever he wants to see, so he could steal the idea of whatever he wants, like how he told them, or they posited to him that, he can only elude her attacks because he has a gadget. And he says, but the gadget I'm traveling where I want to, and if I didn't know what was coming, I wouldn't be able to get out of your way.
Right.
So that was a good.
Because
I like how they pointed that out.
they speculate in the comic book that he's Nathaniel Richards, which is also a descendant of Reed's father, Nathaniel Richards, and there's also a semblance of Reed. He's part of Doom also, so
Yeah, that's tricky.
yeah, it's real.
Jeez.
Earpiece font. Yeah,
Why?
it's real tricky.
And
But,
then it shows the screen in the TVA where they're tracking the flow of time, and you just see so many different branches.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
And
then
you'd think that would draw a flag, but they're fairly calm, which is kind of weird. And next thing you know, you see Loki come running in.
Yeah. And the end part got me. I didn't even catch it the first time. My 11-year-old son had to point it out to me. Like I was only thinking about Kang. I was tunnel vision about Kang, but he runs up to Hunter B-15 and Mobius, telling them about Kang and how bad this guy is. Like to hear Loki in panic of somebody was cool too. I mean, they're building this guy. Like, if you watch wrestling, they're building this guy. They're putting him over big time. And then Mobius starts telling him, okay, we'll look into it, things like this and that. And then finally he says, well, who are you? And it hits home that Loki's not in his own timeline.
Nope.
And it was like a little bit of a punch to the feels, like, because that relationship between him and Mobius was so great. And then, see Mobius not even recognize him. And then I popped big time. The very last scene of the episode was Loki looking out into the TVA, the building and stuff, and you see a almost 100% accurate, comic accurate statue of Kang.
But he's been in there the whole time in the middle of every episode. He actually voiced one of the
timekeepers.
Yeah. So he's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And then he also alluded to the fact that, he's not as young as they thought. It's a young man's game, and it's almost like, okay, I'm ready to be done. Go ahead and kill me. See what happens. You know what I mean? And more than likely, I'm assuming it's going to be a younger version or variant of him that's going to be playing the badass, or who knows?
No, it'll be an older one.
It'll be an older one.
It'll be older one. The younger one will be part of the Young Avengers when he's actually good. The young one will be in the Young Avengers when they ever do that in Disney. The older one in the 440th century is going to be Kang, where he just wants to wipe out because he just truly hates the Avengers. Truly hates the Avengers when he was going against a collector in the comic books in a game where they had the Avengers, and if he won, he could have life or death consequences and actually have life to reanimate Renona, because she got killed by a general. And he chose to kill the Avengers instead of bringing back the love of his life. So he truly hates the Avengers.
And he's a sometimes nemesis of Fantastic Four also.
Yes.
So
but he's met everybody in all Marvel universe.
I believe I read this years ago. We wouldn't even be talking about this had Disney not bought Fox, because even though he's got the hatred for the Avengers and stuff, the way rights broke down is Kang was considered a Fantastic Four.
Because he was the first appearance in Rum Tut, a Fantastic Four 19. That was his first appearance ever. And then it was Avengers 8, where he was Kang the Conqueror. But it was Fantastic Four first.
Yeah. But so had they not bought Fox, they wouldn't even be able to do this storyline. And then I think I remember reading somewhere that James Gunn actually wanted to include Kang in one of the Guardians movies. And they were trying to do a trade with Fox for a Marvel-owned character or a Disney-owned character, and they just couldn't make it work. But everything happens for a reason, apparently, because
this would be way better because Kang in that storyline with the Guardians, they've bumped heads a couple times, but really Thanos was actually a major player with the Guardians in the comic books lore.
And I don't want to say relegate, like the Guardians movies aren't amazing, but if you put him in probably Guardians 2, I think it was going to be, at that time Disney Plus wasn't even a thing. He's probably going to be a one-off villain. You might see him in the third one eventually or whatever, but if we want to get into it now, looking ahead for Marvel, what they set up with this episode and what they were able to set up with him.
Well, they set it up the whole way in Ant-Man when they were in the multiverse anyway, because the cathedral was in the universe anyway. It was already set up.
Yeah.
It was already set up.
But where we're going now, as excited as I was for the original Avengers movies and stuff, and Marvel's killing it right now. Wasn't ever not going to be excited for anything, but I'd imagine I'm not alone in thinking this. I was kind of like, where are we going to go? Stark's gone, Cap's gone, or at least Chris Evans, Cap, Steve Rogers is done for now. Like, the future didn't seem as quite as exciting as it did when we were in the height of Infinity Saga and everything.
I agree.
And then just like that, they changed it because we have Loki finishing now, and they set up that we're going to go into multiverse and all the time branches and stuff. And then I don't think it's confirmed yet, but there's a rumor, or it's being reported, that Loki is also going to show up in Doctor Strange 2.
I heard that rumor also.
Okay, so Doctor Strange 2 is titled in the Madness of the Multiverse, or something like that. Super long title. It's being directed by Sam Raimi, who did the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, but he's also known for he did Evil Dead movies back in the late 70s, 80s, and they are the first one wasn't bad out there, but they're a horror anthology, or not anthology.
The Army of Darkness was pretty good.
Yeah, and they get out there, and so he's kind of known for having weird taste also, and the fact that he's coming into Doctor Strange, and Wanda's going to be in it, Loki's probably going to be in it, obviously Doctor Strange is going to be in it,
Bruce Campbell's going to be in it.
Yeah, the title, they're setting up big things with the multiverse there. But before we even get to that, Doctor Strange is going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home, which, the casting...
Just real quick, let me ask you a question. So everybody's heard these rumors about 3 different Spider-Mans and whatever else. So are we talking variants here?
That might be how they do it. It could be.
I mean, is that where they're going with this? Like, how do we end up with 3 Spider-Mans? Is it because...
I'd say yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you read the Spider-Verse comic or saw the amazing animated Into the Spider-Verse film, it's probably a story close to that. And yeah, I would imagine there'll be variants because Jamie Foxx is confirmed to reprise his role as Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but he confirmed that he's not going to be blue like he was in that movie.
Thank God.
So, yeah, right there you're changing something. Dr. Octopus, being reprised by Alfred Molina, who played him in Spider-Man 2, is going to be in it. And then there's rumors. There's all kinds of rumors. There's rumors, because I don't think Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are confirmed at this point. I think they're a rumor. There's rumors that Kirsten Dunst is coming back, that, I can't think of his name, but the guy who played the original Green Goblin.
William
Dafoe. Yeah, thanks, Bub. There's rumors that he's coming back. Like, there's all kinds of rumors, and then
they're bringing the Sinister Six eventually. That's coming too.
They'll have enough villains now to do the Sinister Six, and this is kind of spoilery. I mean, I don't think it's going to ruin anything for anybody, but the Spider-Man No Way Home toys have come out, and there's a Funko Pop where Spider-Man apparently is given a gadget by Doctor Strange where he can wield magic. Which kind of seems out there, but it's almost like a wrist shooter, like a gauntlet, and he's got like the Doctor Strange looking.
Does he have the cloak?
No, he doesn't have the cloak.
Okay, because he actually in some types of what if or comic reality stuff, he actually was a sorcerer, not a supreme, but he was actually a sorcerer.
He might get it at some point.
Yeah, that's a little far fetched, but I mean that's the way it goes now.
Well, recently there was some concept art that came out where Doctor Strange in Infinity War actually was wearing the Iron Man armor for whatever reason, and that's a storyline they must have dropped. But so yeah, so we have that. Spider-Man: No Way Home will probably be the first big dip into the multiverse stuff we get.
Actually, the multiverse will start at What If in about 2.5 weeks. Even though it's
True.
animated, that
Yeah.
stuff will carry over from Loki, and
See,
that's already going to be a go.
I didn't think that was going to be canon because it's animated, but with this,
they could do anything with.
Yeah, exactly.
So many different timelines. Like, is there? I mean, this also makes sense that if they ever want to bring back a character, right? It's possible because there's so many different multiverses, right? Like, there's so many different timelines.
And eventually, depending on how far they want to run with this, if they keep the multiverse storyline going through the rest of this phase and maybe to another phase, we could see Secret Wars at some point, which it would be
not
more
the original.
No, 2015 Secret Wars.
Yeah. The original was better, I think.
Yeah. So, we got the What If coming up, and then we got Spider-Man: No Way Home, and then we got Doctor Strange 2, and then Loki. There is a season 2 confirmed for Loki, the only Disney Plus show that's going to have a season 2. And then Jonathan Majors, he's going to be in Ant-Man 3, which comes out early 2023. So this multiverse storyline should be going on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he's the villain for the foreseeable future, right? I mean,
he's going to be this phase's Thanos, really.
Well, now it's the villains. Now it's not so much the heroes in the first phase where it was Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Now it's the villains now, because really there's the Marvel heroes are secondary to me because they'll never be as strong. That Avenger team is never going to be as strong as the first incarnation of that team.
Yeah.
It's never going to be as strong as it once was. It's going to be all different, all new Avengers, and they had comic books with that, and it wasn't where it was. When you don't have the three main founding fathers of the Avengers, to me, and it's Steve Rogers, and Tony Stark, it's not going to be the same. No matter what they do, I mean, they're going to add a whole bunch of stuff, but it's not going to be the same.
No, but like you said, Bubba, that's a good point. Is now that we've gone through the heroic age, you could almost look at it.
Yeah,
it's time that the villains take the center stage, because they're the first few stages. Villains were kind of iffy. Some were hit, some were miss. But if they start really, deep diving into the villains, that'd be a good route to go.
Well, I just seen today that Daredevil, Charlie Cox, was supposed to do a convention, and he canceled his convention because they have to do Spider-Man reshoots next week.
Oh, okay. Because I heard there were rumors that he was going to cameo in She-Hulk, and then
he can, because he'll be
a lawyer.
Yeah, and he'll be but that was just something I heard today.
Yeah,
and they're gonna reshoot some stuff because that you know what I mean, and then he canceled.
But I mean, we covered a lot of Marvel stuff there. I guess to get back to Loki, I'm gonna say that might be my favorite Disney Plus series so far.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, the others were great, and I to be honest with you, I mean, I think WandaVision was brilliant. But this was just over the top.
Yeah. They had their own strengths and weaknesses, like WandaVision was great in its way it told its story.
Yeah.
And Falcon and Winter Soldier was good for having that gritty action feel to it. And Loki
I'll rank them. Which each of you? Which one would you put? Not that we have to do this. They were all good in their own.
Yeah. I mean, it's all subjective, but I mean, you want to go, Bubba? Yeah, right.
It's hard. Well, the thing is, though, everything. You know what? I'm going to rank the season finales, because that was okay. I believe that there was a lot of hoopla for WandaVision, and the reason why they didn't get it because of COVID. But the arc of Sam Wilson as Falcon told a story, and the back scene of the Winter Soldier of Bucky Barnes overcoming of being an assassin. That's secondary storylines, because it's more normal maybe in the Marvel universe, where Loki had, time travel and different multiple universes, but the finale of Loki, if you bet, if you called FanDuel and you bet, you because I thought it was going to be a variant because I didn't think they were actually going to put, him in the show. So ranking that would be, to me, the Loki show was just superb, and that director is only doing one season. She's only
Yeah.
doing one. That's it. So and WandaVision, they were all neck and neck. So I'll go series wise Loki. I'll go WandaVision due to the concept of how they did it in comedy and moved it up from the 50s to the 2000s. But the gritty street stuff would go to Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that would be third. But they were all great shows.
Yeah.
I'll rank
I agree. I would rank them the same, exactly how Bubs did. So
Yeah, that's probably how I would go. I mean, you can look at it so many different ways. Like if you look at which shows did the most going forward, then it would be Loki, WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier. But just on their own merits, Loki's got to be number one for me. And I mean, I have a tough time picking between them because WandaVision was so original. And if you go back and watch the episodes, the director was talking about it. Not only do they go through the different time periods, but each episode represents a stage of grief. So when you watch them, like the symbolism behind them, which I wasn't smart enough to pick that out, but at least that's what she said. So I'll take her word for it. Each episode represents stages of grief. But Falcon and Winter Soldier, it had that gritty story, that one carried more over from the movies in a way because you had Bucky, he was still up in the air after everything. You got some conclusion for him. You got a new Captain America now. It was relevant with what's going on in the world right now in some aspects. Boy, is it tough to pick. All right, I'm just going to go Loki, WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you were stalling there for a minute,
Well,
but we got it out of you. Okay, this is completely irrelevant, but I have to ask both of you. Okay, since you both picked Loki to be number one out of the three, let's rank as 1 and 2. Let's rank Loki and the Mandalorian.
Oh, well,
two different.
I could do
But which one do you like better? Which one?
Loki for me.
I know it's hard, but I have.
Well,
to
I
ask.
mean, the only thing that puts it over the top, Mandalorian over the top, is the Luke Skywalker ending. If they didn't pull that over, it would have been just, you know what I mean. It was okay, but they didn't set up anything like Loki did. Loki actually converted the whole MCU, where the Mandalorian did not. The Mandalorian saved Star Wars, in my opinion.
Yes, I was going to chime in with
didn't make the difference that Loki did. Loki,
yeah,
her killing the who remains has done something and exploded the Big Bang Theory numerous times. Where, I mean, the Mandalorian lost Goku to Luke Skywalker, and people are still bitching about how Luke looked, which is ridiculous. So,
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, both of them are great. I just can't.
No, with this whole storyline, with the Marvels pulling off, it just opens endless possibilities with all these timelines, right? So they can go back and fix a lot of screw ups that they've done and especially with Hulk and Spider-Man, etc. My concern with Star Wars, they don't have that. So if they decide to remake the last 3 movies, like there's rumor to be,
just don't make them.
There's no way to fix it.
There's so much more universe out there. Just move on from the Skywalkers, at least for now. Like do Old Republic or something. Like there's so many other stories that could be told in an infinite galaxy. Why? I understand that the Skywalker story is the backbone of Star Wars, but branch out. Like, don't beat a dead horse.
If they did a Vader series, it would be phenomenal. If they did the Vader series like the comic book, it'd be phenomenal.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So just to pivot there for a second, I was just curious, pick your brain on that. But
You were trying.
anything else you guys want to talk about with Loki?
I got one last
Oh,
thing, Loki
Okay.
adjacent. Few weeks ago, a month ago or whatever, we had the episode where essentially why does DC suck? And I don't know if you guys saw this story or not, but after the finale to Loki aired, Kevin Feige, the mastermind he is, had a big, essentially, conference call with who is going to be the content creators going forward for the next couple phases for Marvel to explain the rules of the multiverse and what we can do and what we can't do. And that's perfect leadership and, the perfect thing that they needed to do to make sure everybody's on the same page. Like, it just feels like a cohesive unit. Train keeps on rolling, like well-oiled machine. They're going to knock it out of the park. And
well, is that not to, get everybody's expectations too high to let them down? Or is that more like what?
I think it's so that, because each movie, these movies are all being written independently. And then Kevin Feige is the most cohesive unit between all of them. He's overseeing everything. And then there is a little bit like some directors have, like James Gunn has had input. He had input on Infinity War and Endgame when they were more so Infinity War about the Guardians. Peyton Reed that directed Ant-Man, he had some say so in Ant-Man's development in Infinity War. But more or less, if you're working on all these movies at the same time, you don't know what storylines the other projects are. So he just kind of set, this rule book down essentially of making sure everybody's sticking to the same plot points and things that make sense to each other, so that, this movie has the multiverse doing something that the other movie doesn't. And they said, well, that you can't do that in the multiverse, but the other movie is like, yeah, you could do that in the multiverse. Just so it's all cohesive and it makes sense with each other, and you don't have these plot holes, which is where DC is just overwhelmingly lacking. They don't have that singular vision.
Their TV shows are good. That's about it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, final thoughts, Bubs, going to you. Any other thing you want to talk about Loki or anything else, just in general, what Marvel's doing moving forward?
Just keep buying books. That's all I've been doing. And well, like I said, What If is coming in August 11th, and that's going to be different. And I seen that the Black Panther. I don't know. See, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest what if, because with that male character not being Chadwick Boseman, what do you do with Black Panther? I mean, you're going to make it his sister, but realistically, that character, what are you going to do if you don't have a male character? The Storm and him marriage will never be, and that is a big, huge thing.
Well,
you know what I mean? That's huge. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Cool.
So in the Marvel in the multiverse, they could switch it up and get Michael B. Jordan. I mean, he's going to be the Black Panther in What If, in the animation stuff. But
they could do that.
And they're actually they're doing a multiverse Guardians of like Avengers of the multiverse or something. So there's going to be different, because there's going to be stuff going on. And
well, they also announced that they're going to in the future have a live action Disney Plus series that's solely set in Wakanda.
Yes.
So if that, because they're pumping these Disney Plus shows out pretty quick, they're going to be able to even quicker with,
but no Black Panther.
COVID behind us. Maybe they set somebody else up in that series, and then he shows up in the movie or something. But most likely, I like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I like him as an actor in general.
Yeah, great.
Because they can't. They have to get that character. They cannot have that character on the shelf. I don't know how they're going to do it. I just don't know.
No. But here's a question off the top of my head with, Spider-Man No Way Home, possibly bringing in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and whatnot. People have been making jokes. Do you want them to allude to the Marvel actors like Chris Evans that played the Human Torch? Do you want to see a variant of him as Human Torch pop up for a quick second?
No.
I don't. I think it's funny to think about, but you got Chris Evans' Human Torch. You got Michael B. Jordan's Human Torch. You got Edward Norton's Hulk.
I forgot about that.
Ed Norton's Hulk's good though. Ed Norton and Bruce Banner. I'm not a big Ruffalo guy.
Oh, I like Ruffalo. He reminds me of the dorky scientist that I think Bruce Banner should be. My Bruce Banner doesn't do parkour in Brazil.
Oh.
But to each their own, you know.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Anything else?
I think I'm out.
No.
Okay. Take us home.
I don't know too much. But okay, everybody, you listen. Thanks for listening to Unscripted. We did the Loki series, episode 6. Super producer Mav and Cable, myself, wishing everybody and hit subscribe and do whatever you need to do.